China right now is feeling like a black woman. And I want to see if I was tripping. And I said, y'all know what we all do. We go ask ChatGPT, like, ChatGPT, am I tripping? Or is China acting like a black woman?
Every single day I wake up to a comment like this. If you don't know, my name is Bella, and in 2022 I was one of less than 200 American students in China. And that's all that I was. I was just a student in China, an American student in China with zero affiliation with the Chinese government.
Supporting China is the easiest thing ever if you're not completely brainwashed. Like, if you can read a headline and not be super biased about it, like...
Every single day I wake up to a comment like this. If you don't know, my name is Bella, and in 2022 I was one of less than 200 American students in China. And that's all that I was. I was just a student in China, an American student in China with zero affiliation with the Chinese government, and still zero affiliation with the Chinese government. I do not hate the United States, okay? Let me just make that very clear right now. I do not hate my country. In fact, I'm actually so grateful for the opportunities that being an American has given me throughout my life. You can say what you want about the United States. Of course, we're disadvantaged in so many different ways, and I've made so many videos about that. But in so many other ways, we are some of the most privileged people in this world. And I'm not saying that this country is flawless, okay? If you know me, you know that I don't believe that to be true. But we have so many privileges as Americans. However, with that being said, I strongly believe that the United States in its current situation is not living up to its fullest potential. And my personal identity as a Middle Eastern American just amplifies that significantly, because I always think about how much money we've wasted in war against Middle Eastern countries, all while China was progressing, and that could have been us. So no, I am not affiliated with the Chinese government, but I genuinely do believe that we are failing as a nation. And as an American student who was in China over these past few years, I do not think that the United States' #1 priority right now should be to maintain hegemonic control. Okay, I think that the United States should stop trying to compete with China and actually try to focus on how China became the superpower that it is today, and how we can cooperate with China and become more like them in some ways. Because guess what? China does not want to compete with us. That's one thing people need to understand. China's government has come out multiple times and has said that they do not view the United States as competition. And if you look at any of their policies, because I've studied their policies, okay, that's literally what my major was. If you look at any of their policies, for example, the policy that they want to send like 50,000 American students to study in China by the year of 2030, you would realize they do not want to compete with us. They want to cooperate with us. So yeah, I strongly believe that we should be in cooperation with China rather than in competition with China. I think that would be so mutually beneficial to both of our countries. The United States needs to start preparing for multipolarity, because that's the direction that we're headed in as a world. I think that begins with focusing more on domestic issues, which the United States has been failing to do for so many years now. The purpose of my content is not to slander my own country. That's not at all what I'm doing here. What I'm doing is trying to draw attention to issues that really matter, how we can fix them, and how we can improve as a nation. Okay, I believe that the most patriotic thing you can do for your country is to criticize it.
Here's why I am unapologetically pro-China. The China you see on TV is actually just a bunch of propaganda. This place, in many ways, is more free than America. First of all, you can drink in public, on public transport, and in taxis. You could leave your bike or your belongings out in public, and nothing would happen. Crime basically never happens here. The culture is super conservative and perfect for raising a family. The people are incredibly nice and super accommodating and genuinely just want to get to know you. The cost of living is incredible, and I'm living life on my own terms as a result of that. Last but not least, the food culture is top tier. Those are just a few reasons why I like living here, and I'll trade all of those easily for expensive California. My name is Ian. I live in China. Follow me for more living in China videos.
China has 9 political parties. I think sometimes with internet discourse, we tend to conflate different ideas into one gotcha comment. This comment is kind of doing that because it assumes that choice, having a voice, and having different political parties are all the same thing. Most of us can recognize that even though we have at least 2 different parties, there aren't that many differences between the parties, and we're not getting our voices heard. I mean, we're sort of resorting to protests and writing to our representatives, and we're getting exceedingly frustrated because we're not getting any response. Now, China's political system is very different from ours. There are 9 political parties, but the parties actually don't work in opposition to each other. They work together. Got like 92 million people in the Communist Party of China, more now. And then the next biggest party, you only have 330,000 people. But those 8 political parties still do have a voice in the National People's Congress, which is the top legislative body in China. These representatives are elected and they serve a term of 5 years. They meet at the 2 sessions every year in March, which is what Li Jingjing came on Global Majority for Peace to talk about. These different political parties have slightly different focuses. The other thing that's interesting about the NPC is that it does have representation from the 56 ethnicities in China. So everyone does have a voice in this political system. That's why there's a very common saying when talking about politics in China that China doesn't change their political party, but they do change their policies. Whereas here in the West, we change our political parties, but we don't change our policies.
So my name Maga call me propaganda or CCP. Thank you, I'm very flattered. Our government has many elites. I'm just a very normal person. I'm not even a member of our government. The reason I know United States is because I lived there from 2019 to 2023. That's when I found out I was duped. It's so full of lies about all the democracy, freedom, blah, blah. So I would feel shamed, anger for a while. That's just normal person's reaction. When we find out we've been lied to, we just like maybe feel anger, maybe feel shame, right? But we will stop believing the lies. But your magas, you're really weird. When you heard the truth hurts, of course, then you're just like, let me sleep. I don't want to know. I think you're lying. I will put more propaganda on my cage. Pathetic.
I spent 10 years serving this country, put my life on the line in a war built on lies, came home broken, and now I'm watching these bootlickers in West Virginia legislature spit in the faces of the very people they claim to represent. House Bill 3518 isn't just cruel, it's calculated violence against the poor, the disabled, and the working class. It's a death sentence wrapped in a bureaucratic doublespeak, a deliberate act of war against the very people of this state. They ain't just cutting Medicaid, they're slashing lifelines. They're gutting entire communities and sentencing thousands to suffer because they would rather hoard wealth than save lives. You want to know who this bill hurts? Over 600,000 West Virginians depend on Medicaid, and this bill sets them up to lose the second the federal government shifts funding. We already have one of the highest poverty rates in the country at over 18% and climbing. Hospitals in rural counties are shutting down. Overdose deaths are skyrocketing. People are literally dying in the streets because healthcare is treated like a privilege instead of a right. And these parasites in Charleston want to cut even deeper. And let's be honest, this ain't about saving money. If it was, they'd be clawing back the millions in corporate handouts and tax breaks for the rich. But no. They'd rather rip healthcare away from children, seniors, and disabled folks than dare touch the pockets of the elites pulling their strings. They call this fiscal responsibility, but what it really is a goddamn massacre of the most vulnerable. You know what makes me sick? The same cowards pushing this bill all got government-funded healthcare. They all got government-funded healthcare. The same ones who scream about personal responsibility have never worked a day in their lives without a safety net paid for by our tax dollars. These politicians don't care if you live or die. To them, you're just a number, a liability, an expense to be cut. They'll smile in your face while signing the paperwork that leaves you to rot.
People ask me sometimes, why don't you talk about revolution in China? Well, I can tell you that. For the last 100 years, we already had it. We overthrow two authoritarian governments. One is the Qing dynasty, and that revolution actually started in my hometown, Wuhan. We were the first to rise. We were the rebels at that time. I'm pretty proud of it. Then it was the nationalists. They become corrupt and broken. They are basically fascist dictatorship. And it was the farmers, the workers, the students who organized and took them down. In between, it was the Imperial Japan invasion. The people didn't quit and didn't fold. It was hard, and we won. Say whatever you want to say about China, but when things come hard, then people come together. But look at US right now. 100 years later, you got more billionaires. Endless war on foreign soils. People are more divided than ever. No real healthcare. No real unity. You're not really fighting the people in power. Stick to the man. You're fighting each other. Left and right, blue and red. Meanwhile, the ones on top, they're just watching, counting their money. I think it's time to stop blaming your neighbor, your strange uncle, and ask yourself who is really should be running things. And people should stop fighting each other, should stand side by side, because I know when people unite, changes will happen.
So China actually does have quite a lot of billionaires, more than you might think. The difference is they keep a watchful eye on theirs. You might have heard of Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba, once the richest man in China, who made some remarks in 2020 and then was subsequently disappeared. He made some comments about financial regulation and how the government was too involved in that and how they should step aside and invite things like crypto into the economy and also start lending money to people who had any line of credit at all. And China did not like that and said, okay, you're done. And he disappeared from the public eye for a few months at least. Depending on how you look at it, it's kind of draconian. But is it better or worse than how we treat our billionaires, where we just kind of give them free rein to run amok in government, to pay people millions of dollars to vote a certain way?
I have a benevolent mother, literally, living in China. The fact I'm not living with her in that family is because I grown up. I want to see a bigger world. And I know there's a bigger world. Not like a frog living in the well and looking up, see the world as a round sky. And that's it. I don't want to be the frog. No world is limited by one family, one city, one country. Anyway, I don't know if CCP is benevolent or not. We look at the action. Some action might be, for example, build up the infrastructure for all the people, high-speed railway for all the people, health care for all the people, and also making sure there's no homeless person in China before building another military base overseas. Those are pretty benevolent actions, would you say?
Black women, I got something for y'all. So I asked ChatGPT a question on our behalf, and so specifically as it relates to China. And what I've been feeling lately is, I'm like, China, I feel like it's biting the black woman style. Like China right now is feeling like a black woman. And I wanted to see if I was tripping. And I said, y'all know what we all do. We go ask ChatGPT, like, ChatGPT, am I tripping? Or is China acting like a black woman? Because, I was kind of rooting for him in a way. Now, me over here talking about the racism in China. I know we live in America, right? So anyway, I wanted to know if that was true. This is what ChatGPT said. Y'all, then I'm gonna let y'all go to get back to it. It says this is a powerful comparison and a nuanced one. Let's draw the parallels between China's temperament in the tariff war and the temperament often seen in powerful, strategic black women. Now, I didn't even say it was powerful or strategic, but that's what ChatGPT said, so it must be true, black women. So here we go. Number one, it gave me 5 things. Number one, grace under pressure. This is what it said about China. China didn't react impulsively to tariff provocations. It measured its responses, retaliated proportionally, and kept the bigger picture in focus. This is what it said about black women. Black women often face aggression or bias with poise, preserving their power by not letting emotions derail their purpose. Y'all, and this is the shout at the end, because it summarizes each one at the end. It says, I don't have to show you I am angry to prove I am aware. Black women, y'all know that's us. Number 2, the long game mindset. China saw the trade war as a temporary storm in a long journey towards global leadership. It did not let short-term losses distract from its long-term economic vision. The comparison to black women. Black women are masters of the long game, navigating systems, building legacy, and outlasting adversity without losing direction. Y'all, don't miss your shout here. It says, you may win today, but I am building for tomorrow. Now, ain't that the black women? Listen, that's every black woman you know. Number 3, calculated silence. China didn't respond to every press release or tweet. It chose silence when it served, and that served as its strategy, letting results speak louder than rhetoric. Now, y'all know this probably should have been number 1 for us. Black women often understand the power of silence as a form of restraint, wisdom, and control. The summary of this: silence is not weakness, it's strategy. You better get your shout in right now, black woman. Okay, number 4, I know, number 4, elegant strength. China didn't flex aggressively. It moved with quiet confidence, using diplomacy, trade partnerships, and global alliance as strength. Black women often lead with elegant strength, commanding space not by force, but through influence, excellence, and undeniable presence. Soft power, hard impact. Y'all, we better shout. And last one, resourcefulness over retaliation. Instead of collapsing under pressure, China turned inward, investing more in innovation, self-reliance, and alternative markets. Black women historically turn obstacles into innovation, creating their own paths, brands, and tables when none are offered. I'll build what you won't give me is the summary. And black women, listen, if ChatGPT know it, and I know it, and you know it, then it must be true. Now, they are biting our style, because you know everybody's a culture vulture over here. But I thought this was a fascinating parallel, because also dig these blues, right? China has not been in a major conflict since 1979. So it's creeping up on 50 years that it's been building its thing. They have been silently taking over manufacturing. You see, they don't even post anything negative about their country. Try to go find it. You know what? China bit our style, and it is the new black woman. And I ain't really mad at their approach right now. Schindler in Chief is going to learn today.
Supporting China is the easiest thing ever if you're not completely brainwashed. Like, if you can read a headline and not be super biased about it. Like, I got happy when China created a nuclear reactor that cannot physically melt down, and that they're building more nuclear power than any other place in the world. Like, I let myself get excited when I saw that they're using infrared lasers to melt the ice off of wind turbines, and that they're also going to reach their wind and solar goals 6 years ahead of schedule. Like, is it radical to care if our planet gets completely destroyed? Because there's one country that's producing as much renewable capacity between 2023 and 2028 as the rest of the world, plus an additional 30% on top of that, and it's China. Like, I think it's awesome that they've had successful trials of disabled people controlling robotic prosthetic limbs with their minds in China. Like Elon Musk has Neuralink and it ain't shit compared to that. Like I think it's really incredible that there are electric vehicles for under $10,000 in China and they're nice. Like I've ridden in some of them. I think it's inspirational that one very poor country that was devastated by years of colonialism and imperialism, like they lost over 20 million people in World War II and had so much of their whole country destroyed. They now have 70% of all of the world's high-speed rail, and I got to ride on that high-speed rail the last time I was there. Like, it's inspiring. It's beautiful. They have more high-speed rail than all of Europe combined. Air travel is probably one of the worst things that you can do for the environment, and China successfully built an alternative for that. Also, for as much as we yap about free speech here in the West, all of our social media platforms are bought and paid for by pro-fascist billionaire creeps. And I'm very grateful that I have a following on Chinese social media now. Like I just enjoy those platforms so much more. It's such a more positive experience. The exchange of ideas is so much more constructive on Chinese social media. It is night and day. China is only 17% of the world's population with 10% of the world's arable land, and they now produce 60% of all of the world's vegetables. They have 3/5 of all of the world's stored grain, and Trump thinks that they really need our soybeans like that. Y'all are so worried about their one-party system that's actually one ruling party and 8 other political parties that help inform that ruling party's decisions. You say it like it's a bad thing, but I think it's actually really awesome. It's totally incredible and inspiring to see what a country can accomplish when they ban their Republican Party. Imagine how much we could get done if we didn't have to argue with lying Republicans every
I'm glad that you watched this extent. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to all these creators who shared their thoughts, because I'm also going through the same on this platform where people think that I'm paid to spread propaganda about China. While I have never talked anything about China here, people are the ones speaking the experiences that I'm putting together. And I don't know, I have no ties with the Chinese government. From my accent you can tell that I'm black, and I'm in Africa right now. So how would China, which is the other side of the world, pay me in Africa to propagate propaganda? Anyway, is this propaganda or is this just facts? When I decided to start sharing China videos, which I find that aligns with what I believe culturally, like there's a lot of things that I really want to learn and from China, and also some beliefs are kind of connected. And up to now, I'm still finding out what could be the connection between China and Africa as far as culture is concerned, because there are so many cultural values that we have put aside. We've attempted to copy the West because that's what was the standard. We knew that everything that the US does is how the world should be led. Until now that they're now finding that they had gone the wrong way and they're trying to fix things, which is now hard to be fixed. I hope and pray that even as we witness, the rise of China, that people will be able to copy these values that are human, good values that really ties people together as a community for them to be able to support each other and to live in harmony and peace. I think that's what everyone wants in this world. And why would you say that someone is propagating propaganda or being paid by the government for simply thinking critically and looking at things objectively? We've all had a time, America had a time to shine where we believed lies, but now with everything that is being exposed about it on social media, and with the current government, it's really unbelievable to see what is happening. The respect is deteriorating, and I know Americans are used to be on the lead, and there are so many Americans who are also coming in my comment section that I hid from my channel to tell me that I should be posting and focusing on America. To be honest, American news was giving me headache. It was giving me headache already. I was sharing videos, but it was always executive order after the other, and I was always frustrated. They started deporting people, and I decided not to share anything about that because I felt like I was sharing bad energy. So unless things change, I have nothing wrong with America. I have an American brother. I always say that, and so I wish the best for America, but why not give China its flowers when it's deserved? So, that's my take on this. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Like, share your thoughts in the comment section. Because well, support the channel. I appreciate you for subscribing, for liking, for commenting. I can't take for granted all that you're doing for this channel. I appreciate you.